Hey guys, so I am so excited to finally be filming this video because I'm going to be talking about something that combines two of my favorite things in this world, horror and reality TV. I think horror game shows or horror reality TV is something like a subgenre that has not been explored enough, if you ask me. I just think that these things work so well together, and I think a lot of people will disagree with me on that. But if you've seen any of these shows I'm going to talk about in today's video, you know just how like quality these can be, even though they're terrible. It's just like quality. Reality TV is shamelessly one of my favorite things on this planet. I literally watch it every single day of my life and will probably watch it until the end of time. I go back, rewatch old shows. It's just one of my passions in life. In fact, I've even thought about doing what I do here on a horror channel, but for reality TV, like the equivalent. Before we get into the horror game shows, I just want to thank NordVPN for sponsoring today's video. If you're unfamiliar with a VPN or what it does, it's very, very useful in today's technology-based world because it makes hacking close to impossible. It protects all of your data and adds extra privacy. And of course, the major selling point for me is that you can change your location and access any country's streaming services. Anything that they have on a streaming service, all that content, you can easily have access to with just one click. And this will really help out with today's video because some of these shows are very hard to find and track down because they're from the early 2000s. So having NordVPN will help you kind of explore the entire world's content. NordVPN is hands down the easiest VPN to use because all you have to do is click on a country and refresh your streaming service and boom, you're instantly connected and have access to all of their streaming content. I've been using it for so long myself now, and you can use it on up to 6 devices with just one account. So it's really helpful for all of your devices. They also have a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no real risk if you want to try it for yourself. And of course, there's no data logging, so you're super anonymous when you're browsing the internet. My viewers, of course, get a huge discount, so just click the link in my description or use my code PossessedbyHorror for a 2-year plan plus a bonus gift. Okay, we're gonna start with my favorite horror reality TV show ever aired on TV. Like, this is hands down one of my favorite shows of all time, period, and I've gone back and rewatched it multiple times because I love it so much, and I don't hear enough people talk about it. I don't hear enough people talk about horror game shows or horror reality TV anyway. But this one especially needs to be known by everyone, and that is Scream Queens, which aired from 2008 to 2010. Now, this has 2 seasons, the first one being the better one in my opinion for obvious reasons, which we will get into a little bit later. This show follows 10 contestants competing in acting challenges where one actress wins a guaranteed callback, and which makes her immune from elimination that week, and also director's challenges where they act out scenes, and each week one actress is eliminated until only one remains and wins a breakout role. What are the stakes? What's that breakout role? To star in the next Saw movie. Now, this show is actually produced and partnered with Lionsgate Pictures, so it is directly correlated with the Saw franchise. James Gunn is a judge on this show, which is fantastic, and it's actually hosted by Shawnee Smith, who we all know and love as Amanda from Saw, at least for season 1. In season 2, Jamie King replaces Shawnee Smith as the host, and Tim Sullivan replaces James Gunn as the director / judge. Jamie King I only know from My Bloody Valentine 3D, so if you're a fan of that movie, she's the host in season 2. And Tim Sullivan, I'm not gonna lie, I have not seen a single one of his movies. So that's one of the reasons why season 1 is much better, I think, than season 2, but they're both highly enjoyable. And yes, the winners have actually starred in the Saw movies. I'm not gonna spoil anything or say who won or anything like that. I've mentioned it in previous videos, so it might have already been spoiled for you, sorry. But if you're a fan of Saw, if you watch Scream Queens, you might see some familiar faces and kind of piece things together. For some of the acting challenges in season 1, they actually recreate some of the iconic scenes from James Gunn movies, such as Slither, which are amazing and absolutely hilarious at the same time. I think one of the reasons why this show is so bad yet so good is because they cast really bad actors for some of them. I mean, some of them are like standouts, right? Which you kind of assume they're gonna make it far. But because it's reality TV, of course they're gonna cast some drama queens. They're gonna cast some bad actors, so it's entertaining for us to watch. If they were all fantastic at acting, it probably wouldn't be that entertaining. It'd be cool to watch to see who deserves a part in Saw, but it probably wouldn't be as entertaining. And I think this is intentional and a thing that happened a lot in the early 2000s with reality TV. But you know, some things are planned out and kind of scripted, but I think that kind of adds to the appeal of the early 2000s era of reality TV. I just think Scream Queens is so phenomenal and just combines the like competition type game show or reality show with horror, and it just is such a perfect combination, especially exhibited in this show particularly. So if you're gonna watch any of the shows I'm talking about, please watch Scream Queens. Both seasons 1 and 2 is available to stream on Tubi right now, which is absolutely free with ads. You might be able to find some clips of it on YouTube as well, but definitely watch Scream Queens. Okay, next we're gonna talk about a show that I wasn't even sure existed because I have not heard of or seen a single other person on earth talk about this show or said that they've seen it. So please let me know if I'm not alone and I didn't just like dream the show. I mean, I found clips of it, so clearly it's a real thing. And that is 13 The Fear is Real from 2009. This ran from January 7th to February 20th, 2009, with episodes premiering every Friday. And this show is described as Survivor meets Friday the 13th, which sounds incredible. Two things that I love oh so much. So 13 contestants go on this show to compete against each other to avoid elimination, which in this case meant death. That's right, they killed you off. Killed you off. Was it cheesy, goofy? Absolutely. But if you just like go with it, it's such a fun show. So all of the contestants will face their deepest fears and psychological scares while also being enticed to work with the creators against the other contestants, so they don't even know who they can trust. Meaning the creators of the show will actually entice specific contestants to become the killer on the show. And each week, 2 contestants are killed off in terrifying challenges until one remains the winner. The prize, $66,666. Clever. This show is quite literally Survivor meets horror. It's like the horror version of Survivor because the executive producers for the show were Jay Bienstock from Survivor. So one of the producers from Survivor actually was a producer on this show as well. And Sam Raimi was also a producer on this show, who of course brought us the Evil Dead movies. Also in addition to Robert Tapert, who also worked on the Evil Dead movies as well as the Grudge movies. So we had some fantastic people working on this show, and was it really bad? Yeah, it really was, but in the best way. So for each episode, there were 2 aspects. You had the rituals and the execution ceremonies. So rituals were where competitors faced their fears and battled against each other, either against another team or another 2 players, and whoever loses this ritual must go into the execution ceremony. And in the execution ceremony, the players must race against each other to escape a deadly trap. Does this sound familiar? And whoever escapes can return to the game, and whoever doesn't is killed in this trap. This was in the era of Saw. I just want to remind you, this is the era of, you know, or the time period where Saw movies were very, very popular. So I'm not surprised that they kind of did something similar in this show. Now, there were other players that could end up in this execution ceremony. Either if the killer among them was correctly identified, they would have to go and compete in the execution ceremony, or if they were falsely identified and they ended up not being the killer, whoever accused them has to go into the execution ceremony. And then there was the aspect of the death box, which is how you actually became the killer. If you were in possession of this death box, it would allow you to kill up to 3 of your other contestants, and you could do this secretively during challenges so no one would suspect you as the killer. And they would have to leave the game immediately. They would be killed within the challenge. But if they suspect you have it and they hold a vote and they end up being correct, you're going to go to the execution ceremony. This show was absolutely cheesy. I mean, the way they killed off these people was so corny, and they tried to make it seem real, and obviously it's reality TV. We know, well, we know it's not real. If it's reality TV, it's not real. But there's just such a fun essence about this show, and the different layers and the competitions and things that they had to go through, the rituals and all of that. I just think it's such a good show. Good luck finding it anywhere. I could not find this show at all. I could find like random interview clips on YouTube, but this show is just gone from the internet. I cannot find it. If you can find it, please let me know where and how, because I need to watch this show again. Finally, we're going to be talking about Killer Camp, which actually aired in 2019 and 2020. I say both of those years because technically it aired, I believe, first in the UK in 2019, and then CW in the US actually bought the rights to it and aired it during the summer of last year. So Killer Camp is about 11 campers that are dropped into an 80s themed summer camp, very reminiscent of Friday the 13th, hoping to win some cash, but there is a murderer among them and they must try to vote them out before they take home all the prize money. Oh yeah, in each episode, the killer anonymously selects one person to be murdered. Yeah, another one of those where they're killed off. So they go through money earning challenges, very similar to other reality shows, like very goofy type competitions that you would see in like Are You the One, or sometimes even Survivor has some cheesy ones. Not horror related in the slightest. Like there's very minimal horror elements in this show, except for the fact that there is a killer among them, and each episode at the end someone dies. The secret killer is actually able to sabotage the group during these challenges, so they then take home the money, because if the group cannot win together, then whoever the killer is will earn that prize money. So this is a British American show. The host 100% makes this show like watchable because he's hilarious. I genuinely think he was the best part of this show. I actually really liked the characters and the cast too, like the contestants on this show. They were enjoyable as well, some not so much, but I thought they were well cast. And the show is actually only 5 episodes long, so it's highly bingeable to watch in a single day. Highly recommend. And it originally aired as a Halloween special in 2019 and aired the 5 consecutive nights leading up to Halloween. And then, like I said, CW licensed the first season and then put it on their streaming service in July of 2020, which is when I watched it. And guess what? The CW has commissioned for season 2, and it has now moved to a original series on the CW, and season 2 will air this fall, and I'm so excited. What makes this show so entertaining is that you're trying to guess who the killer is, as well as the contestants, because you don't know who the killer is unless it's revealed. If they vote whoever the killer is, then it's revealed to you. But I love trying to figure out who's suspicious, especially in the confessionals, because they're all talking as if they're not the killer, and obviously one of them is lying. So it's fun to try to pick up clues on who you think is the killer. I feel like really good drinking games can come out of this show too. I will say that the killing scenes are some of the most climactic scenes on reality TV to date. I mean, they are so scripted and acted out, so they all like play a part in it, but it's so entertaining. It's so good. You just have to watch it while the host is narrating and being hilarious. I think this show is so good. So Killer Camp is streaming on the CW app. I believe that's free. I don't think I paid for it. You can download it on your phone, or I think on, you know, PlayStation, Xbox, whatever. And it instantly became one of my favorite shows. I hate that it's only 5 episodes. Like, that really kills me. That really kills me. But hopefully season 2 is just as good. If you want me to do a review of season 2 when it comes out, I absolutely will, because I think more people need to talk about this show because it is so amazing. Please watch it. So there you have it, my top 3 reality shows or horror game shows. Please watch all of them if you haven't. Well, actually, 13 Fears Real, I don't even know where you can find that. I watched it on TV when it was airing. It was such a good time, and haven't seen it since. So let me know if you can find it, but highly recommend all 3. Obviously Scream Queens you can watch on Tubi, and Killer Camp you can watch on CW. If you don't have access to those in your country, try an NordVPN to, you know, get access to those, because I think everyone needs to watch them. They are so iconic, and people just generally need to be doing more horror reality shows. Killer Camp gives me hope because it's modern. It came out last year, and we're getting another season this year. Like, it's such a good combination. Why aren't we doing more of these? And if anyone wants to do it and needs a consultant for what would make it a really good horror reality show, I have 20 years experience watching reality TV and horror, so just let me know. My email's down below. Anyway, let me know what your favorite horror reality show is. I know there's plenty of others. There's Hellevator that I couldn't find to watch for this video, so I apologize, but let me know if you've seen it. It's by the Soska sisters. I did watch 1 episode and it was pretty cheesy, but in a good way. But let me know what your favorite horror reality show is, or horror game show. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.